A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a landmark ruling that has sent shockwaves across the United Kingdom, the Supreme Court has unanimously determined that the legal definition of a woman under anti-discrimination law strictly refers to someone who is biologically female. This significant decision has been met with celebrations from gender-critical campaigners, while trans rights advocates have condemned it as a serious setback for equality. The ruling clarifies that the terms woman and sex in UK law must be interpreted as referring to biological sex, meaning that a transgender woman, even with a gender recognition certificate, GRC, is not legally recognized as a woman under the law. Supreme Court Deputy Head Lord Patrick Hodge, delivering the judgment, emphasized that the core question was whether the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 extend to trans women with a GRC. The court concluded that they do not, thus reinforcing the biological definition. This ruling concludes a lengthy legal battle that began in Scotland, where the advocacy group for Women Scotland, FWS, challenged legislation aimed at increasing female representation on public boards. The original law, enacted in 2018, included trans women in the definition of woman, prompting FWS to argue that the Scottish government had overstepped its authority by redefining a key term in national equality legislation. Although Scottish courts initially sided with the government, FWS ultimately triumphed in the UK's highest court. The court ruled that the statutory guidance issued by Scottish ministers, which allowed individuals with a GRC to be recognized as women under the law, was incorrect. Furthermore, the ruling stated that transgender women could be excluded from single-sex spaces, such as female-only toilets and changing rooms, if it is deemed proportionate. The justices noted that if sex is defined as biological sex, then the female-only nature of certain services permits the exclusion of all males, including those living in the female gender regardless of GRC status. The implications of this ruling are vast, potentially affecting single-sex services and facilities across the UK, including healthcare, education, and sports. Women's rights groups and prominent figures, including author J.K. Rowling, have expressed jubilation over the decision. Rowling took to social media to celebrate the victory, praising the efforts of the 3 Scottish women who fought for the case to be heard by the Supreme Court. She stated, "In winning, they've protected the rights of women and girls across the UK." However, the ruling has been met with disappointment from organizations like Amnesty International UK, which expressed concern over the potential consequences for trans individuals. The UK government welcomed the judgment, asserting that it brings clarity and confidence for women and service providers such as hospitals, refuges, and sports clubs, reaffirming the protection of single-sex spaces under the law. Employment law experts have warned that the ruling will have significant practical consequences, urging employers to review HR policies, particularly those related to access to single-sex facilities. The president of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian Coe, described the decision as common sense, stating it would support women in areas that matter most. Reactions from Scottish leaders have been more cautious. First Minister John Swinney acknowledged the ruling and pledged to engage on its implications, emphasizing the need to protect the rights of all individuals. Conversely, Scottish Greens MSP Maggie Chapman labeled the ruling as deeply concerning for human rights and a significant blow to marginalized communities. Vic Valentine, manager of Scottish Trans, criticized the court for not hearing from any trans individuals in a case that fundamentally revolves around trans rights. This ruling has ignited a fierce debate over the definition of gender and the rights of transgender individuals, with advocates on both sides vowing to continue their fight for equality and representation. As the UK navigates this contentious issue, the implications of the Supreme Court's ruling will undoubtedly shape the landscape of gender rights and anti-discrimination laws for years to come. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.